Hi friends, today is Wednesday, October 21st, and today for Writing Chance, I think this is it. We are reading chapter 37. I woke up in the clubhouse. At first, I didn't know where I was because when I opened my eyes, the only things I saw were these paintings of horses and dogs. I was in this dark room with wood paneling on the walls and real heavy curtains. "He's opened his eyes," said Grandmom. She was sitting right beside me on this leather couch. Pops and Uncle Ronnie rushed over from where they were standing with Winston by the window. Alicia was there too. She was sitting on a couch at the other end of the room with Foster and Miss T. "What happened?" I said. "You have a concussion," said Pops, leaning over me. "The club doctor checked you out, but we're going to take you to the hospital for observation." I remember Jerome charging toward me and Chance, but I couldn't remember what happened after that. "Where is Chance?" I said, trying to get up. "Is she okay? And Magic?" My head was hurting, but I had to know if the horses were all right. "They're fine," said Pops, holding me by my shoulders. "You know, Chance loves you. She stood over you after you went down." I sank back down to the couch. "What about the match?" "They stopped the match after your accident," said Pops. Winston had been pacing over by the window. He finally stopped and cleared his throat. "It's time to be honest," he said. He walked over to the foot of the couch so I could see him without straining. "Jerome intentionally tried to hurt you, and he didn't care if he injured Chance and Magic in the process." "I can't believe he did this," said Alicia in a quiet voice. She was sitting there with her hands folded in her lap. "He doesn't even care about the horses." Winston let out another deep sigh. "It looked to me like Jerome, Little Keith, and Jerome's cousin, what's his name, Lele, planned the whole thing." "Lele again?" said Grandma. "Think about it." Winston looked around the room. "Little Keith distracted our attention on the field while Lele started a commotion in the stands. That gave Jerome the cover he needed to attack Troy. That's what it was, an attack." Winston had on his polo watch. I knew he was nervous because he kept swiveling the face up and down. "I didn't know he was capable of doing something like this." "He's mad all the time," said Alicia, "but I thought he loved the horses." "You shouldn't blame yourselves for Jerome's behavior," said Pops. "No, it's not that simple," said Winston. "I've been obsessed with making a big splash back in the polo world ever since I left it." He looked out at all the trophies in the display case. "I was too concerned about having a great team that I could show off out here instead of paying more attention to what was really going on with these kids." He sat down on one of the faded velvet chairs around across from the couch. "Maybe I've been pushing them all for the wrong reasons. Maybe it wasn't to help them, but just to make me look good." "You never talked about this," said Miss T. She went over and stood next to Winston's chair. "I wish I had known." "You've helped these kids," interrupted Pops. "I can't begin to thank you for what you've done for Troy." I couldn't look Winston in the face. He was taking the whole thing real hard. That's when I said it. "Jerome got me back for tripping him at Alicia's party." "Got you back?" Pops frowned. "I thought me and him were cool after I said I was sorry." "You apologized to Jerome?" Winston said. "When?" "On his first day back to the stables. Well, I guess I should have apologized to you too." I looked up at the ceiling and took a deep breath. "I should be suspended too." "Jerome's not suspended," said Winston. "He's out. Same for little Keith. There's a big difference between tripping somebody and knocking someone off of a horse. You could have been killed." Winston shook his head like he was still putting the whole thing together. "And Jerome's cousin came all the way out here to be a part of it. Well, he's in trouble along with the others." Uncle Ronnie had been quiet up until then. He sat down and scratched his forehead. "I sure don't like what they did," he said, "but we can't just forget about them." I looked over at Alicia again. She didn't say anything else. I could tell she was confused from the way she just sat there so quiet. She was smarter than me about some things, but she couldn't understand how Jerome and Lele could be the way they were. So hard that they could have been anything else. "Don't worry," said Winston. "We'll get them some help. I just hope they're open to it." "That's what I mean," Uncle Ronnie said, pinching the skin at his throat. "Maybe they can turn themselves around." Nobody said anything else about what I've done, but I knew I couldn't let things stand the way they were. "I'm sorry I lied," I said. "I am too," said Winston, "but don't think for a minute that's what caused Jerome to try to hurt you. He's been jealous of you from the beginning. He's the big polo player. What's he got to be jealous of?" "Heart, Troy." I looked right at Winston then. "You got heart. Jerome's going to be spending a lot of time with his social worker talking about that." Winston was sitting with his hands hanging over either side of the chair, and there was this lamp with a little green shade shining light down on his watch. It finally hit me what was so special about that watch. It was tough enough not to break when it was hit by something hard, but it had another side too. A soft side that was totally cool. You just had to know when to switch from hard to soft. That's all. There was a knock on the door and Dre stuck his head inside. "How's everything in here?" His face lit up when he saw that I was awake. "I'll let the horses know you're all right," he said. All that talking had me real tired. I sank back into the couch and let my eyelids close without worrying about anything. I didn't need to keep them open to know. It was all good. And that, my friends, was the end of Writing Chance. There's one last piece here, and this is from the author. Have you ever been bitten by a bug? A bug with real sharp teeth that just grabs at you and won't let you go? It may not be a bad thing. I'm not talking about real bugs, of course. I'm talking about something that inspires you, a song, a picture, a summer breeze, anything that inspires you to be creative. That's what happened to me when I heard about Work to Ride on National Public Radio. Listening to the wonderful story about a mentoring program in Philadelphia's Fairmount Park where kids get the opportunity to ride horses in exchange for work was totally inspirational. This was back in 2011 when the Chamonix Equestrian Center's polo team won the U.S. Polo Association's Open National Interscholastic Championship for the first time. Intrigued, I did additional research and found photos of some of the kids. Well, that's what did it. I was bitten by a beautiful bug. Writing Chance is fiction, but the spark, the idea for it, came from hearing about Work to Ride. Check them out and maybe you'll be inspired too. And that, my friends, is the end of Writing Chance by Christine Kendall. Thanks for being with me all these couple of weeks as we went through Troy and Chance's journey. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. Have a good evening, friends.